The walls of the private family council room had witnessed decades of royal discussions, difficult decisions, and carefully guarded secrets. But on this particular evening, those historic walls would become silent witnesses to one of the most astonishing confrontations the modern monarchy had ever seen. Senior members of the royal family had gathered behind closed doors at a secluded royal residence. No cameras, no reporters. No official statements, only family. The atmosphere was tense from the very beginning. Many had expected the meeting to focus on upcoming royal engagements, charitable initiatives, and preparations for future transitions within the monarchy. Instead, the gathering quickly took an unexpected turn when Princess Catherine requested permission to address the room. Those present immediately sensed that something unusual was about to happen. Known for her calm demeanor, diplomatic approach, and reluctance to engage in public controversy, Catherine was not someone who spoke impulsively. Every word she chose carried weight. Every statement was carefully considered. That was precisely why the room fell silent. When Catherine rose from her seat, even the most experienced royal advisors reportedly paid close attention. According to sources familiar with the situation, the princess began by expressing her commitment to family unity and the future stability of the crown. She emphasized that her concerns were not personal grievances, but matters she believed could have long-term consequences for the institution itself. What happened next reportedly left several attendees stunned. Catherine allegedly presented concerns regarding a series of behind-the-scenes actions that she believed were creating divisions within royal circles. The discussion centered on Queen Camilla. For years, public appearances had projected an image of harmony and cooperation. Yet behind palace gates, rumors had occasionally surfaced suggesting competing influences, private disagreements, and differing visions for the future direction of the monarchy. Most of those rumors had remained exactly that, rumors, until now. Sources claim Catherine outlined what she described as a pattern of strategic decisions that had gradually shifted influence within key royal circles. She reportedly argued that certain appointments, invitations, and advisory roles had increasingly favored individuals connected to Camilla's sphere of influence. The room became noticeably uncomfortable. Some family members exchanged glances. Others remained completely expressionless. No one interrupted. What made Catherine's presentation particularly remarkable was the level of preparation she appeared to have brought into the meeting. Observers described her remarks as calm, measured, and supported by detailed examples. Rather than relying on speculation, she allegedly referenced specific incidents spanning several years. One example reportedly involved private family gatherings where attendance decisions had raised eyebrows among certain royal insiders. Another focused on charitable initiatives that had unexpectedly shifted priorities after consultations involving Camilla's advisors. While none of the examples were individually explosive, Catherine's argument suggested that together they formed a larger pattern. A pattern that could not simply be ignored. The revelation reportedly caught several attendees off guard because Catherine had rarely voiced such concerns publicly or privately. Many had assumed she preferred to avoid internal disputes altogether. Instead, she appeared determined to ensure her perspective was heard. As the discussion continued, the atmosphere grew increasingly serious. Some family members reportedly questioned whether the alleged pattern was intentional. Others wondered whether ordinary administrative decisions were being interpreted too critically. Yet, Catherine remained firm. She reportedly emphasized that intentions were less important than outcomes. If decisions repeatedly produced the same result, she argued, then the family had a responsibility to examine why. The council room grew quieter with every passing minute. Even those who disagreed with her assessment acknowledged the significance of what was happening. This was not a casual conversation. It was a future queen speaking openly about concerns involving a reigning queen. Such moments are extraordinarily rare within royal history. Traditionally, disagreements are handled privately and discreetly. Public harmony is often prioritized above all else. But according to those familiar with the meeting, Catherine believed silence was no longer the best option. The future of the monarchy, she reportedly argued, depended upon transparency within the family itself. Then came the moment that changed everything. A senior family member asked a simple question. "What exactly are you suggesting?" The room froze. Everyone understood the significance of the inquiry. It was one thing to identify concerns. It was another thing entirely to propose solutions. For several seconds, Catherine reportedly paused. Then she delivered an answer that surprised nearly everyone present. She was not calling for confrontation. She was not demanding anyone lose their position. She was not seeking public embarrassment. Instead, she proposed a comprehensive review of internal advisory structures, family consultation processes, and decision-making procedures. Her objective, explained, was accountability. The proposal instantly divided opinion. Some believed it was a sensible approach designed to strengthen trust. Others viewed it as an unprecedented challenge to established royal dynamics. Regardless of perspective, one reality became impossible to deny. The conversation had entered entirely new territory. Attention soon shifted toward Camilla. Throughout the discussion, the queen consort had reportedly remained composed. She listened carefully, she took notes, and she allowed Catherine to finish without interruption. For many observers, that response was almost as surprising as Catherine's allegations. There were no visible signs of anger, no dramatic outbursts, no immediate rebuttals. Instead, Camilla appeared to be waiting for the right moment. When Catherine finally concluded her remarks, all eyes turned toward the queen. What would she say? How would she respond? The silence seemed endless. Then Camilla slowly stood. According to those present, her expression revealed very little. She thanked Catherine for speaking candidly. She acknowledged the importance of open discussion. And then she began addressing the claims one by one. What followed would reportedly leave the entire council stunned. Camilla disputed several interpretations of events. She argued that many decisions had been collective rather than personal. She insisted that suggestions of coordinated influence were being exaggerated. Yet, as she continued speaking, another unexpected development emerged. Several individuals present reportedly began contributing additional details. Some comments appeared to support Catherine's concerns. Others defended Camilla's position. The meeting was no longer a simple exchange between two royal figures. It had evolved into a broader debate about power, influence, and the future direction of the monarchy. Voices remained respectful, but the underlying tension was undeniable. For nearly an hour, the discussion intensified. Then, just when participants believed every major issue had been raised, one senior insider reportedly introduced a piece of information that changed the entire trajectory of the meeting. The revelation involved a previously undisclosed series of private communications that, accurately interpreted, could dramatically strengthen one side of the argument. As the documents were reportedly placed on the table, several family members leaned forward in disbelief. Catherine's eyes immediately fixed on the papers. Camilla's expression reportedly changed for the first time all evening, and the room suddenly realized that the most explosive part of the council meeting had not yet begun. The appearance of the documents instantly transformed the atmosphere inside the private council chamber. For much of the evening, the discussion had revolved around interpretations, perceptions, and competing accounts of past events. Now, for the first time, there appeared to be something tangible sitting in the center of the table. No one spoke. Several family members reportedly exchanged uncertain glances while senior advisors carefully reviewed the materials before them. According to insiders, the communications in question were not scandalous in themselves. They did not contain dramatic confessions or shocking admissions. Instead, their significance rested in what they appeared to reveal about the flow of information between certain palace circles. Some attendees believed the documents supported Catherine's concerns regarding the growing influence of a small network of trusted advisors. Others argued the communications merely reflected ordinary administrative coordination. The debate intensified. Yet what happened next became the defining moment of the evening. Rather than allowing the council to descend into competing accusations, Catherine reportedly made an unexpected statement. She reminded everyone present that the monarchy's greatest strength had always been continuity, stability, and public trust. The issue, she said, was not about personalities. It was not about winning or losing. It was about ensuring that future generations inherited an institution capable of adapting while remaining united. Those remarks reportedly shifted the tone of the meeting immediately. Several participants who had previously remained silent began expressing support for a more constructive approach. Instead of focusing on blame, attention turned towards solutions. The discussion gradually evolved into a broader examination of how royal decisions were communicated, how advisors were selected, and how family concerns could be addressed before developing into larger problems. Even critics of Catherine's position acknowledged that her intervention had sparked an important conversation. Then all eyes once again turned toward Camilla. For the second time that evening, the Queen found herself at the center of the room's attention. Observers later claimed that her response surprised nearly everyone present. Rather than rejecting the proposal outright, Camilla reportedly acknowledged that every institution benefits from periodic review. She defended her record and rejected suggestions of deliberate manipulation, but she also recognized that perceptions matter. Family members believed certain processes required greater transparency, she said, then those concerns deserved consideration. The statement marked a significant turning point. Tension that had built throughout the evening began to ease. The possibility of a direct confrontation suddenly gave way to something far more unexpected: compromise. Over the following hour, attendees reportedly discussed various recommendations aimed at improving communication and consultation among senior royals. Some proposals focused on advisory structures. Others addressed how major family decisions were presented and reviewed. While no final conclusions were reached that night, participants reportedly agreed that further discussions would take place in the months ahead. By the time the meeting approached its conclusion, the atmosphere had changed dramatically from where it had begun. There was still disagreement. There were still unanswered questions, but there was also a growing recognition that difficult conversations could occur without creating lasting divisions. As members of the family prepared to leave, many reflected on the significance of what had taken place. For years, Catherine had been viewed as a unifying figure, someone who preferred diplomacy over conflict and patience over confrontation.